Hey, this is Jerry Fetta here, CEO and co-founder of Philanthro Wealth. So I want to talk about today the relationship that debt has with a credit score. Right? Now, what is the purpose of a credit score? The purpose of a credit score is to prove to creditors that they should loan you money. You're trustworthy and they should extend you a loan because you're likely to pay them back. That's the purpose of a credit score, right? It's like a dating profile. Like imagine if all of the people you've ever been married to, gone out with, had dates with could leave reviews and say, hey, he did this or she did this. It was great, or they messed up here. And then when you wanted to go on a new date, you had this person pull your dating profile and they would see all of this. Okay, well, this is a good person to go out with or this isn't, right? So that's all it is with banks. They look at your report. Okay, they're going to look at, how many loans do you have? How long have you had them for? What are your utilization ratios? So for example, if I could borrow $10,000 on a particular credit card, what percentage of that have I borrowed, right? How quickly am I paying it back? Am I on time? Did I keep my obligations? These are all things that they're looking at on a credit report. And that credit report is then plugged into a system where a matrix, a scoring matrix goes through and gives someone a score based on each of those factors. And that's what a credit score is, right? So a bad credit score actually means a bad credit report first. Okay, and a bad credit report means a number of things. The first thing it could mean is that you're very brand new at credit. Like you're 18 years old, you've never borrowed anything before, you've never had a loan history. And so because of that, you don't have high credit. You just don't have a track record. That's a reason someone could have a bad credit score. The second one is you've done the dirty with your loans. You didn't pay people back on time. You were late. You charged up credit cards and didn't pay them down. Okay, you have charge-offs. You've got bankruptcies. There's things you've done that show you're not trustworthy with loans, right? And so that goes on a credit report and it reflects negatively on your score. Now, the number one thing that you can do to improve your credit score right now is if you have revolving credit cards, pay the balances down. Right? I know that that's not fancy and the gurus out there are going to be like, you should do this and dispute that. And there's this strategy and you can get this, sketchy sounding, seasoned, whatever trade line. No, just pay your balance down. If you have a credit card, pay your balance down. If you can get your balance below 30% utilization or ideally even lower, when your next billing period happens and that shows up on the credit report that you paid that card down, your score is going to come up. That's it. Next, I don't want to interrupt you too long. I just want to give you a free offer for my book, The Blueprint to Financial Freedom. If you go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, you can get the book now. I'm going to let you get back to the video, right? That's not everything in the hat. That's the main one, utilization. Okay. The other one is be on time. Don't miss payments, right? And so one way to be on time, I'm going to give you a little trick here, is when you have a bunch of different debts and a bunch of different loans, and all of them are on different dates, it's confusing sometimes, right? When is the money coming out of the bank? Do I have the money there? Are they on automation, right? Do I have to manually call and pay these bills? So what I would do is I would figure out, when am I going to want to pay these bills? Okay, and I'm gonna set them up ideally for the same day every single month if I can. I want the billing date, the statement date, all around that same time frame. Then I'm just gonna make sure I transfer the money to my account, put them on auto draft. Right? And you want to make sure that if it's a credit card, you're paying it off before the statement close date. Okay, there's two different dates. There's your statement close date and then there's your billing date. Statement close date means it's an accounting date. This is the date that we look at what's on your cards, your report, and that's the cutoff. If it's on there on this date, then it's going to go on your report that month. Okay, the billing date is when do I owe the money? Right? So if I'm trying to pay a card down before it shows up on my credit report, I actually need to pay it off or pay it down prior to that statement close date, right? And so what I need to do is, if let's say my billing date is on the 20th, my statement close date might be on the 17th, for example, or the 15th, I should pay it off probably a week before my statement close date. Okay, that's going to give money time to transfer, settle with the bank, pay off the card. It's clean. I'm not going to charge up a bunch of stuff right before my statement close date. I'm going to make sure that that's empty now. It's paid down. Statement close date happens. Boom. I have a paid down, clean looking card on my credit score, on my report. I pay my bill, my minimum, if I even owe one at that point, because I've already made the payment, right? And then I've got a nice looking credit report. My score goes up, right? So that's a good way to arrange it, is if you have all of those statement close dates, all those billing dates very, close together or even on the same days, ideally, then there's less thinking for you and it's more organized. Okay. Now, what happens if you did maybe miss a payment? Okay, not the end of the world. Here's a couple things you can do. Okay, these are just things you can do that are value add. First things first is if you're in good standing with that bank and you've not missed many payments, okay, and it's not been like several months already, you can call them right away and say, hey, I want to make the payment now. And, because I've been a good customer, can you guys not report this to the credit bureau? Okay, a lot of banks, you have to be late a month before they report it. So if you're late a little bit, they handle it right away. Okay, banks are giant. They're bullies, guys. Don't antagonize the bully. Be on their good side. Give them a call the customer service guy, sweet talk them, say, hey, I'm going to pay the card down. I'm going to make the minimum payment, whatever it is that you can do. And then you say, hey, can you please make sure this doesn't go on my credit report? I've been good. This is my first time. I really want to avoid a ding on my score. What can you do? And sometimes they'll work with you, right? You can also maybe write them a letter. If you talk with someone on the phone and they're like not that great, you could write a very well-written letter, send it to the bank, send your account number, your identification information with it, and just see if they'll do you a favor, right? Now, if they don't, here's what you can do. You can dispute these items. Okay, so disputing items on a credit report, what does that look like? So the credit bureaus that actually build these reports, they're private corporations. I know they're called bureaus. They sound like it's the federal government or some big agency. It's not. It's a private corporation. Okay, and what they do is they mine and aggregate data for banks. So the banks report to them the cards and reports that you have with the bank. Were you on time? Did you make your payment? Did you not? The credit reporting agencies then aggregate all this data and they put it on the report, right? And so they are a middleman. That's all they are. And you can dispute that with the middleman. You can say, hey, I want to dispute my credit report. You guys said I was late here. And when you dispute that, it opens up an investigation window with the credit bureaus, and they have a certain amount of time to actually look at the item and get back to you in a timely manner. Now, if they don't do that, legally, they do need to remove it from your credit report, even if it's a valid incident. Hey, what's up? Jerry here. I just wanted to give you another reminder. Grab my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom. It's going to be one of the best books you have ever read on finance. I can promise you that. You're going to love it. It's also a free offer. So if you go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, you can get that now. Let's say I missed a car payment. I dispute it and they violate their window. And even though I really did miss the car payment, and let's say I did pay it back and it's handled, but I've got this negative late payment on my report because the bureaus didn't get back to me, they're going to have to take that off my credit report. Now, legally, that's the law, right? They have to. Okay, the other thing is if there are errors and inaccuracies, those are things that can force them to have to remove the item as well. So here's how banks work. Here's how reporting agencies work. They're giant. So most of their work is either outsourced or automated. Okay, when something is automated, it means you've got a particle on a credit report for this example that's going to go through a series of steps by itself. No one's looking at it, right? And if it's broken or it's causing errors, let's say that it's, incorrectly spelling names or it's misplacing addresses or it's leaving out data or putting data that shouldn't be there. If those things are happening, for the bank to go in or the credit reporting bureau to go in and rebuild that automation is actually more expensive for them than to just take the item off your credit. So they're going to say, okay, well, do we want to do a maybe multi-million-dollar rework on our automation software, or do we just want to give this person a break and take the thing off their credit? And sometimes they'll do that. Same thing with the outsourcing, right? If you talk to, Habib in India and he's the one that's handling all your stuff and he doesn't actually know too much about credit because he's not here in the United States, he might mess something up. And so rather than them, interviewing Habib and finding out what happened and letting Habib go and his 4 kids aren't going to have food now and then bringing the job back to the United States, that's also more expensive, right? So this system of disputing things is a great way to take items off. There are ways you can self-dispute. I recommend going through an agency. We have a program that does this for our clients that's based on artificial intelligence. So you're getting the best odds. You're getting the best, combinations of letters, wording, timing, all the right things to get these things taken off. Right? Now, last but not least, if you want to improve your credit, add more good things. Okay, you can do secured credit cards. You can do self-pay credit cards. You've got different things you can do to add. You can do rent reporting. You can do self-reporting subscriptions and all these different tools to add good items to your credit. Right? Similar to like the idea of if I want to save more money, I can reduce my expenses or earn more income. If I want to build more credit, I can either try and take items off my report or I can add good ones on. There's going to be a limitation on the items you can take off. Okay, there's no limitation on adding good items on. Now, the key is when you add these new items on, you need to make sure you're on time. You do a good job staying on track. You don't have lates. You don't have charge-offs. You don't have these incidents that are going to add more negatives because then it just takes you back the other direction. Now, the great thing with credit is as long as you have these patterns in and you're being consistent, it is kind of a set it or forget it system. The longer you have loans open, the longer your payment histories are, the more types of loans you have, the more you pay your cards off or down. That all seasons and builds over time, and it actually adds positive results to your credit so that your score goes higher. If it ever dips, it doesn't go down as low because you've got this great foundation. So I hope this has been valuable for you on how to pay off debt, how to build credit. And ultimately, you shouldn't really need credit. You should become your own bank. That's a different video. But if this was valuable to you, like, share, and subscribe. Hey, this is Jerry Fetta here. I want to thank you for watching my video, watching my content. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to learn more about the blueprint to financial freedom and how you can achieve passive income that exceeds your savings, your expenses, your taxes, your generosity, and build wealth like the top 1%, I want to encourage you, grab a copy of my book, The Blueprint to Financial Freedom. You can go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, or you can click the link in the description of the video here. The copy is free. You cover your shipping. We'll send the book out to you, and we'll send you an email with a bunch of great bonus material also for free. Get the book, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on my next content.